What's up, guys? Another beautiful day here in Vegas. Okay, what's my video for the day? A little self confession. Okay, this is also a good thing that also to I use my channel as like as my therapy thing. Okay, and it's also that shows you my side of life for that. Okay, guys, look at me. I'm the chubby side. Okay, one thing like that all my life that I tell you is something that why call why they look chubby? Genetics. But dad was a chubby guy. But being overweight is also caused by one thing. Okay, overeating. Okay, I was an emotional eater. Okay, all my life. Okay, my life was good. It was not perfect, but it was great most often. Okay, I had a good dad, a good mom. Okay, I was a Generation X. I grew up during the 70s and 80s. But you know what? My life is not perfect. Okay, I came here in the United States at 13 years old. Okay, let me tell you something about life. Okay, all of us are not perfect. Okay, if you see a guy like that who's good looking and has good abs, okay, looks happy, you don't know what's inside of him. Most people aren't unhappy or are not satisfied with their life. Okay, let me do something. See, no, I call this that something. So look. I gotta turn off the TV a little bit. Okay, back to my thing. Okay, yeah. Being chubby like that is also that because of bad nutrition, and also that I was an emotional eater because why, and as a kid at that in my household at that was full of anxiety. My father at that, okay, a great man. Okay, he got us to America, gave us a good life, but like all fathers, like generation, like all generation fathers, like Generation X fathers, including the class, including other people, other parents there who were Generation Xers also. Our parents said that with a lot of anxiety, you know, a lot of shouting, a lot of short tempers and everything, a lot of emotional thing. It's part of things like that, okay? Because I grew up in an Asian household. Asian households are not European households. They don't do logic. They do emotions. Because the reason is this: it's a way for them to get out their frustration, and what's keeping them inside frustration in life. My father and my mother that grew up during pre-war and after the war in Manila in World War II. They're World War II. They're baby boomers for the most part. My dad was born in 1936, so he's a silent generation. So they saw unlike people here in America like that. My dad and my mom saw the after effects of the war. Okay, my mom was born after the war, and saw the rebuilding stages. So there's a lot of trauma around the Philippines back then when they were born. So they witnessed it, and their coping things to that was just to swallow it and keep moving on. They never talked about what went through their lives. But dad, they never had a father to dad. My mother had an alcoholic father, was a veteran. My grandfather was a tank driver during World War II. And I was historian of that. If you're a Sherman tank, you know what I mean. You're a target in the battlefield. So that's what happened. My parents did that, out of sheer thing, they brought us a good life. Was it perfect? No. My dad had emotional temper tantrums to that because he wasn't getting his way. My mother dad was quiet, but sometimes that's just passive aggressive because that's the way they learned. But most of them treated me right. Okay, they gave me good schools and everything. They gave me provide me a car to that go to college. They pay for my college and that for the most part of that as much as they can. They gave me a good peaceful household, but under simmering things to that, like all households that they had their and they had their attentions to that. So I grew up with that. Okay, I grew up with a lot of anxiety to that. I remember as a kid, I see a thunder and lightning in my house to that during hurricane season in the Philippines or typhoon season. I was running under the bed because I was scared of lightning. Okay, I was scared of Americans and white people and black people. When I see them, I used to run out of the way. And when I went to America, I had to fight all those fears because the reason is that all the trauma like that, and I was also bullied as a kid. So all the trauma like that ended up with I ended up swallowing. Some people do drugs. My cousin did drugs because some people do become alcoholics. Some people do some things like that. But I never saw my eating problem. But all my anxiety I put through sports. Okay, creating a business. But I kept overeating that because something inside of me like that was always trying to, trying to get out. So I talk about it all the time in my videos. And people say to you, "Oh, you're weak like that. You overeat." No, well, the drug dealers do drugs, and alcoholics do drugs. That's why I'm very emphatic with that. Sometimes I'm cold to other people, but I'm emphatic the part that we're going to struggle in something. I don't judge you, because you know why? I went through the same thing. That's why people say to me that how do people go to drugs? Quit? You guys can quit because there's something inside you that's stopping you. So those people out there listening to this video, just remember one thing. I'm doing this video is not for the clicks. I don't have a plaque on my wall with a YouTube thing here. I don't care about that. I care about sending a message when I die, okay? At least I'll leave a legacy on these videos over here where people can watch it. You have to remember one thing. It's not you. Sometimes you fall, you pick yourself up. So you overeat. Last night, I overate. Typical. I forgave myself. Move on. That's why I'm pre-diabetic. Okay, that's why I'm on medication right now, because right now I have a health insurance now. Should I take care of myself before? Yes, but you know what? It's it's one of those things that happens. Okay, it's the way you're not perfect. Okay, that's why I was in the bodybuilding and powerlifting world. Even those people that even have abs, they do it by diuretics and drugs. Okay, they're mostly extreme. They're most unhappy people who ever I've met. Bodybuilders that I get, they ingest a lot of things to that to look good, but never solve their inner turmoil. That's another extreme. That's why people say, how can people drive fast cars? Because they're escaping something. Like my cousin, Chino. He lives in California. He drives fast cars because you know why? He's trying to escape everything like that in his life like that. Bad parenting and everything, and escape his cars. That's why we see people that they play loud music and everything, pay attention to me, because they're trying to get that recognition from other people, because all their life nobody paid attention to them. And some people that, how can they harm themselves? They put tattoos over here and everything, because it's also a form of self-hate. And also, also they're putting their trauma outside. They're trying to, that's their way to cope with trauma. So guys, that's why I'm thinking of going to therapy. You should too. I always preach one thing. You should always try to go to therapy. Talk to somebody like that who's gonna help you with that. Talk things out and heal yourself. I hope that I wish I did that when I was younger. But you know what? Now you're older, now you're coping with it. So that's why, guys, remember one thing. It's not your fault that when everything goes, you can't control things that just happens to that. Learn from it. Okay? Learn to figure yourself. People call you this and this. Just remember one thing. Don't ignore them. This is your boat. You must struggle. You must push to the ocean. It's your journey. The reason why God gave me this body to that and this thing here, because there's a purpose. So people who are alcoholic and recover, there's a purpose. They become AA people. It's to help people get up from their thing. That's the thing, guys. That's my video for today. Always remember one thing. Jesus Christ said that, okay? The reason why, he hung around the sinners and robbers and thieves, because it's those people that need to be saved. He didn't hang around with the rich people. He hung around with the poor people. It's my message. It's my faith. And also, it's also my statement and testimony. Okay? God didn't forgive you. God Son, Jesus sacrificed for you. Forgive yourself, and you'll find your peace.